constantly. Guys who are neat, like here, no. But unfortunately, they are the only ones that are safe for women, especially women that have been endured through the kind of trauma that I've been endured through. They're loving, they're kind, they're catering, they are compassionate, merciful. They have all these character traits, virtues that Jesus Christ would wear. So therefore, the kind of men that I should easily, like, you know, sort of kind of gradually swing towards, right? But I'm not attracted to them.
Hello, please like, please comment, please share and share and share and share, and then please subscribe. Thanks.
And I don't trust him to not snap, ghost me again, run off, pull stunts and watch me grovel again. I don't trust him to come into my life and make me fall in love with him violently again, only to walk away, door slam me like I was the one here that was in the wrong. I don't trust him to not act like a baby again. So he would have to never mind walk on water, but glide over the whole planet in order for me to believe him again. He's gonna have to do something hugely miraculous if I'm gonna take him back. At this point, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm working too hard for someone who should be working for me. He found me working for Christ. I was about my Father's business. He found me something that is a good thing to find, a worthwhile pursuit. I am a gem, a rare find. He found me struggling in persecution and nonetheless staying faithful to Christ. And he decided to go and do that to a woman like that.
Hey, are you feeling reached by my content on YouTube? If so, you might be interested in checking out my tweets as well, alongside reading my content on my WordPress account, alongside checking out my shorts on TikTok. They're all in the description box below. Please enjoy the next coming content. Bye.
So I am low-key really desperately, prayerfully hoping that God is rather doing a different thing here than what I think he's doing, and that what I'm doing will not be in vain, but it's not going to be what I think it is. I really, really pray that that's true, because these women across the internet, we can't all just be struggling, suffering so badly. But also at the same time, it's like, can all these men really just be, what is the word that I'm looking for? Lost causes. Can they really all be lost causes? God says that it is easier for a camel to enter into the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. But what is impossible for man is possible for God. With that scripture, I always use it to apply to even old habits as wealth. It's like you're rich on your own supply of basic insidiousness and insanity and an ideological mindset that you are trapped in, and because you're so wealthy in it, it is easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than for you to enter into the kingdom of heaven. They are so stuck in their ways. Their habits that are old are dying so badly that literally a camel would rather first hop into the eye of a needle before these guys will ever embrace the truth and the fact of what Christ has to say about what manhood actually looks like. They might I don't interpret that scripture only to speak of physical monetary wealth. I imagine it speaks of just the wealth of ideology that dwells inside people, that if at all they're chilling in it, literally hang 10, they're relaxing in it unfettered, that this is what makes it very difficult for people to change. That's why it is so hard to uproot ancestral worship out of black people in Africa. It's because they're rich with that doctrine. And so it is easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than for a black man that has been worshiping ancestors all his life to repent and turn to Jesus Christ. But the Lord says it is, however, possible with him that which is impossible with us. So only Christ can do a 180 in the hearts of these men. They're so calloused and so darkened by their rebellion against women that has been inspired by nothing but history that they refuse to get to, uprooted, that we are now sharing in the tyranny and the travesties of their unrecovered state. They, just like us, come from historic oppression, but we as women appear to be the only ones that are coming out of it, and we are wanting more for ourselves. We don't want to be the victim of our circumstance. We don't want to be our mamas and our daddy's daughters. We don't want to have a slave mentality, and we're striving against it. We're working really hard to conquer those structures, but our men, my goodness, they're just staying in it. So they're without excuse, especially considering we are doing a better job as women. They're without excuse. We all came out of slavery at the same time, and we were in some kind of other slavery because of like misogyny against women in the world, period, the patriarchy that can be very taxing on women. So we had that also to deal with. Just by mere virtue of being women, we had it worse than them. So while having come out of slavery at the same time, all of us, we stayed in another kind of oppression for longer. So for us to be conquering in spite of all of the challenges in history, while our men lay complacent and dormant without any correction in them, is frankly irresponsible, and also suggests that they don't want to change. They don't want to be better. They don't want to be healed. They have no desire to actually treat their women better. They have no interest under heaven at all to agree that they overkill where women make mistakes, whereas women take more rubbish from them than can ever be necessary. No woman can make a mistake in these men's eyes. So as attractive as they are, as attracted to them as we might be, it appears as if though what it might end up being our end as black women is just boredom in marriage, because we couldn't be with the kind of man that would be really very attractive to you and speak to you in the way that you want to be spoken to, or get the nuances, the cultural ones at that you come from. A guy, the kind of guy that you very typically are attracted to, we are basically being threatened as black women to say goodbye to them because they are so unloving. Are they really unreachable? They make up millions of people on the planet. Can the Lord really miss the mark with only just one particular type of men? Can he? No, of course not. There must be some that are called to be Moseses and Josephs and like Daniels out here in these streets. They must be called Davids. God calls from everywhere and anywhere, from every tribe, kindred, etc. You get my point. Will the Lord gather for himself a people? So are you telling me that these very street ghetto hood guys within the black community are unreachable? Are you telling me that all of them are just going to end up like George Floyd with a bad track record and a neck and a knee on their neck afterwards? Are you going to tell me that these very entitled black men cannot actually come around to being corrected? I mean, the way that black women are so serving to these men that even though they don't have our back, we still fight for them. Look at what's going on in the media today. Look at how much black men, everybody is crying that they're not being treated well. Everybody is crying that they are misrepresented, that they are underestimated, that they are disrespected, and we are warring. We are warring. Even Hollywood has taken up the narrative to basically protect the black, especially man. Never mind the black woman. Everybody is protecting the black man right now from the travesties that have slapped them all throughout history. And yet black men with the level of service that us as black women in warring for them have prospered to win in the hearts of the people of the world to treat them better. They have no incentive or prerogative inside themselves to now basically return the favor. We have been fighting for them to get more honored in society, to a point where everybody now knows today that black men have it in real bad. They got the short hand of the stick, and everybody treats them like they're criminals before they can even speak. They are guilty before being proven innocent, and so therefore that needs to change. We have warred and fought with that narrative to a point where, like I said, the entertainment industry has taken it on board as something to finally correct. We fight like that for them, and then they have no incentive or desire or interest in them to realize that since this woman stood in the gap for me, was basically my Ruth at my threshing floor, basically prayed for me, fasted for me to finally be recognized in society as worth the while to be respected, and to finally get the world happy to now give me an apology for imagining me guilty before I am proven innocent. Literally, these women have stood in the gap to make sure that I can get my bread again without somebody thinking I'm trying to steal it. These women have fought, so are they not worth it for me to love? A woman is not suffered by black men. It's the worst. Especially the ones that have this ghetto streak. And it is precisely the ones with the ghetto streak that are automatically assumed as menaces to society. They're the ones that are ever being gunned down by police. They're the ones that are always, the very ghetto kinds of men that I'm attracted to are the ones that get given the heaviest traffic fines whenever they get stopped driving. They're the ones that have it in real bad, get mistreated. Everybody like clutches their handbags when they walk into the room. The kinds of men I'm attracted to are those. They are very typically hardened black men that are ghetto. We have fought for them to not be so badly abused, and we keep fighting. And they don't see an incentive to correct their behavior towards women. They are maligners of the very queens that have their back. I don't get it. I am exhausted, guys. I'm tired, because I feel as if though it's precisely because they've recently been getting so protected by media that more so do they feel no incentive to change. It's like now they want to stay complacent in the way that they are because everybody's realizing they're badly treated, and so eventually society's going to catch up to realizing that they should just be left alone. I mean, in dealing with one problem, you should not disregard the extenuating issues in the same individual. It's like dealing with a kid in school, for instance, that is being bullied by other children. And so you stand in the gap for this child. You literally go and tell the teachers, you hook up a little bit of an activistic, you propagate an agenda. You become a protagonist for the cause of this kid so they would stop getting bullied. But this kid, every time an exam gets written, they cheat. They copy other kids' work. They bring in little funny little papers underneath their armpits to cheat on their exam. When then this kid, because he is realizing that the school is coming on board with protecting him against the bullies, when then he starts to feel entitled to pretty much stay the same, doesn't have to change, doesn't have to please the bullies, and so he can continue to do everything that he's been doing all along because now he's being protected, including cheating. Is this kid then on that day not overkilling with the blessing that he has been given? Is this child on that day not taking for granted the fact that people now see him as a person that needs protection? He is taking for granted the sorrow that everyone feels on his behalf. He is riding that wave way too much, and he's in the process hurting other people. What is imperative is that the kid be protected from bullies, but the kid must also be disciplined for cheating. The teachers don't get to stay their hand from embarking on corrective action concerning this child because he's bullied and everybody knows it. The teacher must send that kid to detention, expel that kid, suspend that kid, whatever needs to happen when they get caught cheating. So when the teacher then goes on right ahead to cause the suspension of this kid for cheating, can you go and accuse the teacher of being a bully of the kid? No, the kid was cheating. So black men, can you really accuse us of not having your back when the whole world is against you? Because we keep on fighting the fact that you're so unloving. No, you are wrong in this particular regard. And so you have to be disciplined in it. But we will acknowledge that you do have the short end of the stick and that the world is treating you like trash. And that needs to stop. But you don't get to get away with other little indiscretions that you walk in. You don't get to walk away from the comprehensive suite of issues that you have. You need to deal with the issues that you have. And black men have got this problem with loving women. And it's not all of them. Please, I know generalization can be a disease for us all. It tends to be one particular type of black man. And unfortunately for me, it is the kind that I'm very drawn and attracted to. So must I then settle for a boring future? Must I settle for a guy that I'm not as attracted to as I could be, or that I'm not as, I don't get along with him as much as I would. Not so much along, but, we don't click. Thank you. That's the perfect word. We don't click as much as I would have clicked with this other guy. Because, magumnandi guys with these guys. When it's good, it's good. Like when it's happy days with these guys, it's really happy days. Because you are so, well fitted or suited to one another. But when it's bad, it's real bad. And because when it's good, it's real good. The kind of love that you get when it's good is so extreme that when then he starts to randomly backbite, when he starts to randomly shoot himself in the foot by cheating on you, when he then starts to also ghost, that's what they love. The silent treatment is like a thing that they put on a platter and they think it's worth their while to consume. When then they commit all of these travesties and abominations against us in broad, clear daylight. we get more devastated than we ever would have been if any other kind of man had hurt us. Because we love them, the potential for heartbreak is ever more extreme, is that much more extreme. And because of the way that they love us when things are good, the potential for crashing with a thud is that much more exquisite when it does happen. So they have got power to basically lay us waste. It is no wonder then that women that fall in love with these kinds of men end up so horrible later on in life. My mom is one of them. My relatives, my cousins, I've seen it. Women get made into horrible women later on. They become very abusive. They become unloving towards other women. They are extremely competitive, very jealous, bitter. There's no, that beautiful feminine softness that they had at first that is very attractive. It just withers away. Like they chip away at our souls and our core. And God has no interest that his daughters should be watered down in their feminine thing. He doesn't want us to be watered down in our hope. He doesn't want us to be watered down in our softness, guys, the kindness, the sweetness, the tranquility of a woman's spirit. He doesn't want us becoming one of those brutish women that are kind of beastly. But these men produce that in us. I loathe that I am having to fight for a man like that, because when have we ever won? When have we ever won? They're men. They're supposed to be more mature in gunning for transformation. They're men. They're supposed to be the thought leaders, paradigm shifters. They're the patriarchy that God has put above us all. Whether or not feminists want to fight the patriarchy, they are the heads, not the tail. They are supposed to be more instructed, more knowledgeable, more able to correct, and more dignified, more able to lead. They are supposed to just have it in better than us, and yet we are leading them. I mean, it's like men cannot, guys, like I promise you right now, survive under the leadership of women. That day will never come when they will ever produce a content society. So the fact that they are so complacent, dormant, sitting nje, allowing women to run the show like this, it's causing so much anarchy all over the show. It is bringing disquiet, discontent in even them, in them. Like, men are letting women run the show when it's not supposed to be that way. So, I mean, to accept that level of contentment, it is no wonder then they were in the end of days, because a society run by a matriarchy as opposed to a patriarchy eventually gets brought to ruin, guys. I'm sorry, women. I am not anti-woman. I just understand how God ordered things. We are not supposed to run shows as women. We are just not. And so these guys that are happy or content to watch it happen, society is just going to fizzle away. What the matriarchy, what matriarchal ecosystems have produced is this very feminine society where even the men have been made like little girls. The ravenous LGBTQIA++ agenda that is taking the world like an inferno is predominantly because of the feminizing, the masculine, the womanizing, the extraction of testosterone basically out of men. They have not stayed manly, and so women are becoming very strong. And in any society, there will always be a general population that looks up to the reigning structure. And with women becoming as strong as they are, even young boys are looking up. Oh, God forbid, they're aspiring to not so much men, but women. And so if young boys aspire to women, that it is no wonder they get filed down into these effeminate guys that are all over social media right now, looking like girls with all of their mannerisms. The world is being flipped on its head. Everything is turning upside down because the matriarchy is starting to take power. Women are becoming too strong for society to stand. And so if at all women get as strong as they are, while men in their complacency allow that kind of leadership by women, we weaken a society, period, because then we weaken the strength of men. We weaken our soldiers. We weaken our preachers. We weaken our presidents. We weaken the leadership of men. And in so weakening, men, we weaken society at large because men are stronger than us. And so when their strength fades, it therefore suggests that the world's strength at large also fades. We are tapering towards a very girly planet. A very girly planet. And that is not a planet that can survive on its own. Why? Because it does not have the sufficient strength needed to keep itself erect. We need men in the most manliest form that we can find them. And with them just allowing women to be as strong as I am, as strong as I am, guys, the way that I have survived all of this abuse, I've survived suicide, I have conquered feats, I am basically preaching mannish sermons like this here, survival of a woman that was once this like flower, just growing in a beautiful garden. And now I am basically a tree trunk, never mind a flower. It's unacceptable that men got me to this place. They watched, they stood idly by, they observed, gazed upon my strength, my fortitude, my valor. They watched me walk around like a man, and they stayed back. They did not see it fit to relieve me of all of this manhood that I'm walking in. And to this day, I am still not being relieved of manhood. I'm busy fasting for men. I'm living in these wretched conditions. I'm painting walls in the background that my videos might come off better. I am doing the work of men. I am grinding. I'm slaving. I am a man. Much to my disquiet because I've always wanted to be a girl. I don't know how many times I can say that. I have been made very androgynous. And for those reasons, the world is a worse off place because of my uncomfortably masculine strength. It's worse off. Our men are fluffy. They're weak, while women are replacing them. Then of course the whole world is going to end up effeminate. It's that basic. So men, in so believing that a woman is not to be endured because nothing that she does or say is acceptable, you in and of yourselves are turning yourselves into some kind of a namby-pamby, weak, lackluster, banana peel wannabe man. You're turning into Mr. Freaking Bean or something. You're turning into something very fluffy. You have forgotten what it is that it means to be a man. You have not even gone and studied it. Never mind. Forget. You don't even want to interrogate what true manhood is. It definitely is not abusing your women, ignoring them until they eventually just grovel at your feet and accept every rubbish that comes your way, that comes their way from you. You destroy children with all that infidelity, with all that unfaithfulness, with all that carelessness, that lack of character, that moral turpitude destroys societies. When you destroy a family, you destroy a society. And to not wake up to recognize that as men is just beyond me. I should not even be saying these things to men because a woman is not supposed to teach men. But the fact that I'm highlighting or raising these issues in and of itself is displaying that there aren't enough men saying what I'm saying to men. It's a matriarchy and I can't stand it. I don't want it. I want biblical womanhood in the worst way. I want to be a girl. I don't know though if I ever can be, which is why I am uncomfortable about the prospect of this prodigal son guy ever coming around. Because what's going to be left of him to do as a man since I am currently doing all the work? What is going to be left? He will never be secure in my presence. Unless, of course, the Lord supernaturally somehow gives him some wild ideas to find his girth again. I don't know how I can be with him. I literally have no clue. But I have to come here and preach to my prodigal son when the Lord has not even allowed for a woman to preach or to have authority over a man. They're like babies. They're like boys. And I don't know what to do. I'm attracted very typically so to these kinds of men, but it appears that I might have to settle. I might have to settle for lesser happiness, but at least there is peace and tranquility and a successfully running patriarchy in the household where I don't have to be such a woman. Not a woman, sorry, but a man. Where I don't have to be so strong. Where I don't have to walk around looking like Danny Bravo. I don't like it, even in the slight. I hate the fact that I've been made so strong. I hate that this man came into my life at the height of my persecution and could not see the opportunity for him to become really strong in literally being a man to a woman in so much want and need. How he was not able to see a damsel in distress and an opportunity for him to become the only man that took up the challenge. The only man that did what was better. How in the world he did not see this as an opportunity to literally be the only guy that was a cut above the rest, that showed them what manhood looks like. How he passed that up is beyond me. And yet he thinks that he's being a man right now by ignoring me, because a woman is not to be suffered. She talks too much. She's loquacious. She's here. She's literally just a loud mouth. She keeps on running it well. If you want women to be silent, then maybe you need to not give them a reason to rap and nag so much. I don't want to be, not so much, I would never be with a man that I'm not attracted to, but I don't want to risk a wandering eye, guys. I do not want to marry a man and ever so often stumble violently in the marriage when I see the kind of man that I very typically, historically, was attracted to. I don't want to see the kind of guy that this guy that's passing me shade right now is. I don't want to see him in the street and have to exercise all different kinds of self-control to keep myself in a bunch while looking at my husband that does not quite do it for me that way, does not churn me in that way. But of course, I would never marry a man I'm not attracted to. It's not about that arranged marriage life anymore. But I am so drawn to these men. I am so attracted to them in the worst way, very physically. It's a violent tornado that I fear that my head will ever sway in the direction of black men that I am used to being with if I find myself elsewhere. It's not an issue. It's not a racism issue. It is not a culture issue. It is a preference issue. It is a type issue. It is what I grew up as. It's like something that's entrenched in me. I would have to be 10 amount of exorcised if it's a demon in order for me to get over this thing. But it's not a demon. I grew up in there. And there is no need for me to abandon attraction to those kinds of men at all, because it's not in and of itself sinful to have that for a preference or to be drawn to those kinds of men. What's sinful is allowing yourself to dishonor God just so you can be with them, which is what they hope is going to be achieved presently in our lives as these women talking to these random prodigal son guys who have got hearts the size of beans. Why do I have paint on my knuckles? Why are my hands full of paint? Why am I painting walls? Seriously, why is this my life? When a man came into my ecosystem and knew my challenges, why did he not finish what he started? Why is he watching me grovel? Why is he watching me struggle? Why is he letting me want for love like this? Why is he not rescuing me from my painful life? Why under heaven a man that has as much love in his heart for me? Why is he not going on right ahead to handle my family for making me such a man? Because now he has to deal with my own therapy and my trauma, where every single time he does something, I suspect him. Why is he not making war with those that have made a flower, a beautiful flower in the garden, into a tree? Why? Why am I fighting for him when he should be fighting for me? But those are the things that I guess I have to take to God. I'm in angst. And the sad thing is I'm busy doing all of this work and it's not producing his return. Am I wasting my time? That's why I'm saying I strongly desire that I'm leaning on my own understanding right now. That I am just like these women on the internet that are waiting for the prodigal son, but something else is going to be fruitioned by God through my service to a bad man. My prayer and hope is that because of my faithfulness to such a bad man, a good one will finally stand up and do what is right. Or some other guy will decide to correct his ways. And so honor God in loving me, instead of deciding to literally stay at handsome distance from a woman that he loves more than life itself, and yet he's acting like she's nothing and no one, and like her pain and sorrow is not a bad reflection of him, that it does not make him look really bad that I'm suffering like this while he's around somewhere. I can't. Anyway, those are my qualms. Those are the things that are sitting on my heart, that are chilling in me, really just giving me a hard time with the day. I hope by now that the water's hot. I hate that I'm even struggling with the fact that I don't have my own house, that I have to live in these conditions, that I have to block from this place, that I have to talk to a man that I wish in all of my own strength that I could just write off. but I'm being sent by God to speak to him. I am exhausted from the envy of men over women. How they are so jealous. Of course you're going to be jealous of a woman that works harder than you because you're lazy. Perhaps you need to get down on your knees and fast and ask the Lord to uproot your envy. And in so asking that, the Lord is going to show you that you're only envious. You're only envious of her because you're lazy. You're like Cain, who is trying to kill Abel because you did not do or put in the right amount of work. You did not give the right or adequate sacrifice. And that is why you want to kill your brother Abel. These men treat women like Abel. It is that basic. And I'm exhausted. I don't want to fight like this for someone that I must then just end up with, married to. What in the world? He's literally going to have to walk on water, if at all. I'm not going to undermine what he's going to do next time. I don't trust him anymore. I don't. So I don't even know why the Lord is making me talk to him. I don't trust him. I don't trust him to love me. I don't trust him to stay loving me. I don't trust him to stick around. I don't trust him to not snap and ghost me again and run off and pull stunts and watch me grovel again. I don't trust him to come into my life and make me fall in love with him violently again, only to walk away and door slam me like I was the one here that was in the wrong. I don't trust him to not act like a baby again. So he would have to never mind walk on water, but glide over the whole planet in order for me to believe him again. He's going to have to do something hugely miraculous if I'm going to take him back. Because at this point, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm working too hard for someone who should be working for me. He found me working for Christ. I was about my Father's business. He found me as something that is a good thing to find, a worthwhile pursuit. Like literally, I am a gem, a rare find. He found me struggling in persecution and nonetheless staying faithful to Christ. And he decided to go and do that to a woman like that. I don't get it. But like I said, I really hope I'm leaning on my own understanding right now. That's what I had to come here and say today, guys. Like, I'm tired. I don't know what God is going to say tomorrow. I'm also frustrated by these podcasts in this country that I have to sit out in the freezing cold and then come here and chat. Because I have work to do. I've got to go and talk to my prodigal son. Is he not chilling where he's chilling right now? Standing literally in front of a heater? Or if it's hot where he's at, in fact, it's hot where he's at right now. Where he's at. Because he's in another continent altogether. And there where he's at, it's summer. He's in the US. So he's not struggling with the freezing life conditions that I'm living in right now, and yet he can't even have an iota of compassion for the fact that I am too freaking cold to be speaking at 10 p.m. at night to him. I'm backlogged with my admin. I can't even do anything in and of myself without like freaking out about what's going to happen to my future. I'm literally trying to build a house, a future for myself, just in case this thing does not work out. And every time I go on social media and check out my stats, look at the growth or lack thereof of my channel, I'm just like, it is so slow. It is so slow. And in looking at the slow growth or lack thereof of my channel, I then am thinking, Father, you are obviously keeping me stagnated. Otherwise, you would have given me growth instantly. You would have helped me come out of this by myself. So I can only conclude then that you must be stagnating me so that this guy still has a shot. Because the moment I skyrocket, the moment I get on the moment my YouTube channel grows, it's going to be like a trampoline. I will skyrocket, and this guy's then going to be just this thing that's going to be an echo in the background, fading amidst all of my comments, all of my subscribers, and all of the money that I'm going to be making. He is going to have a much more difficult time to get an ear with me once I'm thriving. So I'm thinking that Christ is probably stagnating me because he would not be able to be encouraged. He would lack motivation or courage to come and talk to me when I'm rising again. It's going to look like he is an opportunist. He's going to look like this dude that literally stayed at a distance, and then all of a sudden when my channel was doing well, then he was knocking on my door trying to stumble me. He would look like he's trying to capitalize on the money I'm making. He would look like a typical classist guy, like the very many men that I have been dealing with in these past years, who would not even give me a second look because I no longer had a career. He would just look like one of those fluffy dudes that want a woman to supplement his paycheck or something. So he needs to find me in squalor. He needs to basically have a job to do in rescuing me, and the two of us start a life together. I am starting to think that perhaps the Lord is not even ever going to let my ministry take off until he is a part of it. then only when it's the two of us that are growing together will the Lord give both of us prosperity. Because he doesn't want him falling back as a man. So I am basically starved right now because he is just sitting, gathering dust, doing whatever it is that he's doing, wherever he's doing it. I am feeling like I'm the one here that has to wait to eat when I've already lain a table full of food because somebody is busy sitting on a toilet seat without any urine even coming out. And he's filing his nails, he's reading a newspaper, the food is getting cold. The food is getting cold and I'm like, but I've cooked and it's time to eat, but I can't eat. I am literally famished. My life is horrible. My living conditions are lackluster. Everything is fallen. I cannot move my car until this guy decides to get up from his bed of thorns and start running with me. He's literally holding me back. I feel like he is why I'm being held back. And that's why I have to come and talk like this every day. I feel like God is not letting me take off because of him. And so every day he just sits outside my work, taking in everything that I'm saying, wondering, shouldn't I? It's just literally starving me, famishing me even further. I am freezing. My living conditions are horrible. I wake up getting lambasted by nightmares on the daily. I am being pursued by witches in my country. Everything is just falling apart. And this guy is just like, I'm not really sure. I'm like, Father, then give me my life back. Give me my life back, because this guy is sitting, like I said, on a toilet seat without even doing the number 1 or 2, just paging through a magazine. And that magazine is me. While I have set apart, literally, I'm working so hard, guys. I keep repeating myself. Let's just stop talking. My prayer is that this thing will just be fixed already. I'm fasting. I'm on my 4th day of my 21-day fast that ends on the 10th of July. When this fast ends, I really pray that this time around, because I can't be giving God any ultimatum, that this time around I will be set free from him. I cannot be sitting outside the life of a lethargic man hoping he's going to realize he needs to start jogging, running, or he will get muscular dystrophy. I'm exhausted. I'm trying to brittle my feistiness. I'm trying to brittle my anger or my hanger. I am trying to be godly about it. But this, especially in these winter conditions of South Africa right now, alongside the stupid podcast they keep on enduring us through, is too much. I am only one person. I don't want to be manly. So if this guy doesn't want to man up, then somebody else better. I'm tired. I've said enough. I hope you've been edified in Christ's name. I really hope that you've been edified and not so much turned off by my irritation. Cranky.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and finally subscribe. Bye, guys.